Good morning, everybody. It's just 10 o'clock. I'm just going to give it another minute uh, just to let more people come in. And also, Jennifer has just put the sign-in link in the chat. So please, if you're here and have not signed in, please click that link and sign in. Thank you. All right, it looks like it slowed down a little bit with people coming into the meeting. It is 10:01, and I am going to call this meeting to order on May 14th at 10 o'clock. And we will go ahead and start with a roll call. Jennifer?
Good morning, everybody. CCI, Scott James or alternate? That would be Tina Powell, Julie Nelson, or Allison T. Unison.
Allison Thenison's in attendance.
Thank you. Good morning. CML, Owen Brigner. Accessibility, Sadie Martinez. At large, Michael Berry or alternate Trina Doomer.
Present.
Thank you. BESP, Tressa Carter or Tim Kunkelman. BESP, Ryan Sargassi Entrado.
Present.
Thank you. I like Jeff Winkleman.
Good morning.
Good morning. I like Jason Hendricks.
Here.
Thank you. And I did just admit Tressa into the meeting. Wireless, Jenny Santana, who is also just coming in.
Hey guys, sorry. I am having like serious technical issues today. I am here. Apologies.
No problem. We got you.
Thanks.
And Jenny, I just marked you present as well. Wireless, Ryan Hoke.
Hi, I'm here.
Hello. Select Voight, Cindy Hartkop, or alternates.
Cindy's here.
Thank you. Select Voight, Jay Slater, or alternate.
Jay Slater's here.
Thank you. Jody's here and doesn't have a microphone. 911, Kim Zimmerman. 911, Cindy Castile.
I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning. 911, Kimberly Culp or alternate.
This is Kimberly. I'm on.
Good morning. 911, Jackie Reynolds or alternates from AdCom.
This is Jackie. I'm here.
Thank you. Beth Dobransky is here without a mic. 911, Valisha Librand.
Felicia is here.
Thank you. Good morning. 911, Jeff Urban.
Couldn't get off mute, Jeff Irvin, sir.
No problem. 911, Renee Henshaw or alternate.
Renee's here.
Thank you. 911, Deanie Shin or alternate. I thought I saw Shannon.
Yep, Shannon and Deanie are both on.
Thank you. 911, Andrew Dameron or Jody Slate alternate. 911, Kyle Mickelson or alternate from Jeffcom. 911, Tina Bonetta or alternate City of Aurora. 911, Kathy Rayleigh is here. 911, Matt Gage or alternate.
Good morning.
Good morning. 911, Carl Stevens or alternate.
Carl is here.
Good morning. 911, Brad Riggin or alternate.
Good morning, Brad's here.
Good morning. You have a quorum.
All right, thank you very much. Next on the agenda is the approval of the March 12th, 2026 minutes. I'm hoping that everybody got a chance to take a look at those. And if so, I would welcome a motion to approve those minutes.
Jeff Irvin, so moves.
Thank you,
Carl
Jeff.
Stevens seconds.
Thank you, Carl, for the second. Any discussion? Okay, then I'm going to make it simple and say anyone opposed to approving the minutes, go ahead and speak up now. Okay, the minutes are approved for the March 12th, 2026 meeting. Thank you very much, everybody. Next on the agenda is our presentations. We're going to start with Alan. I did not get a chance to check. Is Alan on?
Yes, Alan is here.
Yes, thank you. With Starting Hearts.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for allowing us some time to discuss several important initiatives. We have guests with us today, including Richard Price, who is the founder and president of PulsePoint, and Craig Erickson, who is the VP of Community Engagement for PulsePoint, and Emery, with a beautiful French last name, which I won't destroy. She's the Cardiac Arrest Program Administrator for the state of Colorado. And we're going to talk a bit about PulsePoint, the application. So Craig and Richard will do that. Emery will talk a bit about the AED registry, the free registry from PulsePoint. And then I'm going to talk for a few minutes about how this works with the Rural Health Transformation Program that dispatch agencies have the opportunity to participate in. So I will turn it over to Richard and Craig at this time.
Thanks, Alan, and hello, everybody. This is Craig Erickson here with the PulsePoint Foundation, and I'm just going to provide a very brief, high-level introduction to what the PulsePoint Foundation hopes to accomplish in working with our public safety partners. And if there's questions along the way, feel free to interject. Otherwise, I know that Emery and Alan will be following up kind of more to localize some of the things that we're trying to do nationally. So the PulsePoint Foundation started up about 15 years ago, and really our goal is to help improve early CPR and early AED use in partner communities. There's two different community-facing mobile apps. PulsePoint AED is the gold app, and then PulsePoint Respond is the red app that's kind of the CPR alerting system. We've also designed our network basically to have 4 different responder types that can respond to cardiac arrest type of incidents, sort of between the problem identification and first unit arrival. That's really where PulsePoint lives. So really in the goals of the Resuscitation Academy, there's numerous steps to improving cardiac survival. Colorado's doing a really good job with these, definitely a lead state from what we see on what you're doing. And PulsePoint kind of lives in this area where, using smart technologies to extend CPR and public access defibrillation programs to get volunteer bystanders, to a nearby cardiac arrest early as first units are en route. And Richard, feel free to jump into on this national registry if you'd like to. I think Richard's here as well. If not, I can cover it. So our foundation actually manages and hosts the National Emergency AED Registry that's got a number of components to it. And the goal of it is really to get AEDs out of the cabinet, to get them, located and utilized more than they are today, which is a pretty low percentage of the time. But when they are used, they can make a big difference. So it's comprised of a web form that you can embed on your websites to really make the registration and the reporting process, if somebody buys an AED, a lot more streamlined than is typically seen. The best way to interact with the National Registry by far is the PulsePoint AED app. So if you haven't downloaded that one, I'd encourage everybody at some point to just download the app. You can probably zoom around the state and see AEDs that have been reported already. There's also a web browser portal that is kind of the administrative area. We've been working with Emory on this part of it to look at AEDs that have been reported, to be able to verify those locations. And once an AED is verified, then it can show up in the alerting process in our full PulsePoint response system, and also some of the third-party interfaces we have with CAD or EMD softwares as well. So our foundation has been doing a number of things already that you can sort of just benefit from as a state. As I mentioned, we have integrations with all the electronic EMD vendors here. We've also got the ability to identify co-located or even items or resources that are individually located, like maybe a Narcan placement. Google actually did an outreach campaign to all of their Google Places owners on record, encouraging them, if they have an AED, to register it. So a lot of these AEDs that are out there have already been reported to the National Registry via that mechanism, and also some other relationships that we have with national fitness centers that have really good registries that have integrated them with our National Registry. And our foundation also sponsors typically every October sort of a national scavenger hunt where AEDs are given out as prizes as well. Sort of a new initiative is working with the National CARES Registry, which is the cardiac arrest registry here, to map where cardiac arrests are occurring to where AEDs are located, to ultimately more strategically place AEDs in communities as well. So this screen might be familiar to some of you. This is a EMD software from ProQA, or from Priority Dispatch, called ProQA Paramount. And it's a rules-based approach to showing a nearby AED right within that software. So our goal here is to have a live API-based integration with the EMD software vendors so that telecommunicators can identify AEDs without having to jump to a different screen or look at a map. They can get this information right within their workflow. So if there's a unconscious, unresponsive type of an incident, if it finds an AED within a certain radius that can be adjusted based on your demographics, and if there's multiple rescuers, and if somebody's available, then it can direct the caller to that nearby AED that could be maybe around the corner that they can't see. We also have integrations with Total Response, kind of the same type of a logic, where it'll show the AED in an ordered list nearest to furthest down below. You can click it for a live map, and it also shows if there's additional resources in that cabinet. And same thing with APCO and Telecom, where there's a ability to show AEDs, right within that software. So that's really our vision, is to make it as easy as possible for somebody to inform a caller of where that nearby AED is. The community also plays a big part in our approach. There's a lot of outreach that's involved. Some examples here, these are all, locally or state branded to help the community report AED locations. And we've seen everything from billboards to signs in airports, kind of raising awareness to where those AEDs are located. And an example here in like Summit and Eagle County, they've got a link to that registration form right on the website and also a live view of the map. So again, overall raising the awareness to the community of where those AEDs are, and then trying to have a streamlined process of reporting new AED locations into the registry. This is a very high level view of the state of Colorado. Just getting started with this from a state perspective, but we have been working with a number of agency partners for several years that have, a lot of AEDs into the system. But I think you're getting pretty close to 10,000, in the registry thus far. So, kind of going back to this screen, one of the goals we have too is to make those AEDs alertable. So that's where we have the full pulse point respond system availability. For pulse point respond, it's a CAD connected system. It's a very lightweight, outbound only CAD connection. But when we see a call type that is alertable, like a choking, drowning, cardiac arrest type of call, we'll alert the AED responsible party that there's a cardiac arrest near their AED location. The nice thing about this, especially for this audience, is there's really no change to your workflow. So the pulse point respond interface runs in the background, so you don't have to click a button to trigger an alert or cancel an alert. All that logic is programmed in to send out an AED needed alert, and then also a CPR needed alert to any nearby app user. This is very well accepted and pretty good supportive language in the AHA guidelines to connect dispatch systems to alert willing bystanders. And again, in addition to the AED needed alerts, we'll also send an alert to any nearby app user, of which there's thousands of pulse point respond app users in the communities we serve thus far. So a key topic, and I'm going to try to wrap up here as quickly as I can, but we do have different responder types. So it's important to know that we only alert what's called a public CPR responder when the cardiac arrest is in a public location, of which the interface logic will determine. There's also other responder types, professional responders, registered responders that the local agency partner can manage, that would be able to get CPR needed alerts in residential locations, but the public doesn't get any visibility to those. One of the things that we've learned is for this type of a system to be effective, you have to have a really good level of engagement. A number of AEDs that have responsible parties that could be alerted, and enough CPR responders that could be alerted because they're nearby. So we've kind of developed sort of the secret sauce to driving engagement is the outreach piece for sure, but also the natural design of the system to be able to show other public interest alerts like a potential wildfire. If somebody smells smoke, they could go to the app and get visibility to that. And this is a really good driver of engagement. It also provides a good community risk reduction benefit to make a more resilient, responsive, stronger community as well. We've also designed a professional responder app experience that drives, engagement and provides good value to your agency personnel, your fire, EMS, maybe law enforcement folks that could see a lot more in the app than the public would ever see. So they get a full sort of mobile routing with CAD narrative if the agency chooses to share that as well. This kind of visually sums up what the alerting looks like. So we only alert in a radius that's set by the agency based on your demographics. So I'm based here in northern Minnesota, and pretty rural area. I was a Wild fan until the Avalanche beat us last night. Still a fan, but congrats to you guys on that. You got a great team. So the public has a CPR alerting radius of about a quarter mile in our area, but the professional responders could have a much wider radius. So this, again, kind of depicts what it looks like when a CPR needed alert is sent out. So our vision is to have community, AEDs that are brought into our environment, as well as just a map of responders that are carrying the app, because it's really all about proximity to victim and then getting those resources into the chain of survival. So again, creating a culture of action, the outreach piece is important. A couple examples from, some Colorado post-point respond agencies on, kind of a get the app, save a life action message over and above building on your CPR training. And as we say, it's a team sport. So, the community can play a big part of this. And again, we've tried to design it so it provides, minimal impact, especially to the PSAP partners, because it just runs in the background, but does give a good tool for fire EMS to, build upon their response time goals in a cardiac arrest. That's what I had. Any other questions? I see there was a chat that I'll look at here. Okay, gotcha.
Greg, I wonder if Richard might like to make a few comments as the founder of the foundation.
Yeah, so I see Rich's mic wasn't working. Rich, is it possibly working now?
I don't know. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, so I don't know why it didn't work right then at the beginning, but we're definitely excited to partner with Alan's organization and with the state. We've worked very hard to build out the National Emergency AED Registry. Some of you may also be aware of the Zoll National Registry. A couple years ago, those two registries came together. Those were the two national scale registries. So there's just the single registry now. It makes it easier for all our partners, like all the EMD software vendors, all the AED program management companies, organizations like CARES, to just focus on a single integration. PulsePoint is a 501c3 nonprofit, and we provide all aspects of the registry at no cost to public safety agencies and to all the partners, the entire ecosystem, to make AEDs visible to telecommunicators at the time cardiac arrest calls are being processed. So most centers today are giving CPR instructions during cardiac arrest calls, and we're asking that agencies also give guidance to nearby AEDs. And as Craig talked about, we're trying to make that as simple as possible and as frictionless as possible. And that's a big part of the advocacy of our organization, and partnering with Starting Hearts in Colorado to do that. So I don't want to take too much time here, Alan, so let me just turn it over to you, but we are excited to be partnering with the state. Thank you.
Thank you. Alan, I'm sorry. Michael Berry has his hand up.
Sure.
Michael.
Good morning, Michael Berry, Summit County. Appreciate you sharing that. I'm really excited, especially at the idea of an API with, in our case, ProQA for medical. We do have situations where maybe information is coming in and we are not using ProQA, not from a caller, but from maybe some field use. Would that API, or are you looking at other maybe GIS layer options that we could incorporate into other mapping programs like a CAD system or other mapping readiness that we could tie into that AED location database?
Yeah, so there's a couple other ways into it. One, even in ProQA, if you haven't ProQA'd the call, they have a manual way to just get the AEDs nearby without running a protocol. That would be one way. We do have integrations with some CAD vendors. For example, in Colorado and Broomfield, you have Zoll. ZollCAD has that map shown. We also interface with Geocom and other sort of tactical maps. And we're continuing to build those out. So you do have some options, and we could look at what makes sense for you locally. I know we're working with you guys now.
All right, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Craig and Richard, both. We really enjoy working with you, and we have a goal to see if we can engage PulsePoint across the entire state of Colorado and perhaps be the first state in history to be able to do that. Next, Emery from the State Cardiac Arrest Program is here, and she's going to speak a bit about how the state office is working with PulsePoint and the NEAR program. Emery?
Hi there. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks for having me today. Really appreciate it. So my name's Emery. I am the Cardiac Arrest Program Administrator for the state here, and we're working with the EMTS branch. I just started in this role back in November, so just a brief overview. The Office of Cardiac Arrest Management coordinates the collection of cardiac arrest data across the state using transport data from EMS agencies and then hospital outcome data. And this is when we're using the CARES registry, which is cardiac arrest to enhance survival, as mentioned earlier in the presentation. And then we also work to execute outreach campaigns to raise awareness about sudden cardiac arrest and the skills needed to save lives, such as hands-only CPR and utilizing AEDs. Our office also maintains a list of CPR classes around the state, and we're also in charge of coordinating the submission of data to a statewide AED registry. Earlier this year, we designated PulsePoint's NEAR registry as our statewide registry, and that's kind of what Craig alluded to earlier. Our hope for the rest of this year is to get as many AEDs across the state uploaded into the database and then verified. We have embedded the NEAR registry into our website, and I will drop the link into the chat here in just a moment. And so if you do go to our website, you can locate AEDs on a live map, as well as add them directly to the registry if you have one in your possession. We would also like to begin working on ways to integrate the database with the 911 call centers, as Craig also alluded to. So this is kind of our next lift in this process as well. As we all know here, AEDs have been shown to double and even triple a person's chance of survival from out-of-hospital cardiac arrest. So integrating this registry could help save many lives. That's kind of just an overview about what the office does. I'm always happy to answer questions if you have about what our office does or anything related to the AED database in the state of Colorado. So feel free to reach out to me. I'll drop the link to our website as well as my email in the chat. That's all I have. Thank you, Alan.
All right. Thank you, Alan, Richard, Craig, and Emery for that. Jennifer, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I just had a follow-up question. I want to thank Alan and his team and Emery for being here. Both of them reached out to me asking for advice on how to do some outreach to our 911 centers, and I invited them to come to this meeting so that they could speak to a majority all in one place. Obviously, there's a lot of different ways that you can integrate. But I was curious to know if there was any funding available to help dispatch centers incorporate some of this technology into their operations. Alan, I think you're on mute, sorry.
Here we go. Yes, I'm going to speak to the dispatch agencies in the rural counties about the Rural Health Transformation Program for just a few minutes. And you may be quite aware of this already. We are actively engaged with the primary providers to obtain funds through this program, some of which can definitely be used to underwrite the cost of PowerPoint. So you can see my screen okay? Yep.
Yes.
Quickly, Starting Hearts, who we are. We're a 16-year-old nonprofit, Colorado-based. We're dedicated specifically to saving the lives of sudden cardiac arrest victims. And here's a few of the points about us. We were the original Colorado State Coordinator for the CARES Registry, which now Emery in the state office handles. And most importantly, in our two home counties, Eagle and Summit counties, we are the facilitator for PulsePoint activation and I'm very pleased to say that both counties are fully operational with both the registry and the Respond application. And we've been working closely with Richard and Craig for a number of years. In doing so, we worked very closely with our 911 dispatch organization. So Zach Sheets here in Eagle County has been a tremendous supporter, and several of the safety agencies in Summit County as well. Just an idea of who we work with. We are one of only 2 nonprofits in Colorado that are focused on cardiac arrest. And so we have working relationships in cities, counties, and safety agencies across the state. So the Rural Health Transformation Program is part of the Big Beautiful Bill that was signed into law early this year. And it has a total sum of money of $50 billion available over 5 years for rural county health. And we have approximately 800,000 citizens that live in rural counties. We are a state that is significantly rural. 52 of 64 counties are considered rural or pioneer. The state agency that made the application to the federal government was very successful, and they obtained the maximum grant for the state of Colorado, which is $1 billion over the next 5 years. So just one example, when you consider how much money that represents. In Eagle County, where I am based, we have 55,700 citizens, and at $1,250 investment per citizen, almost $70 million just for Eagle County over the next 5 years. That's a very significant sum of money for every rural county in Colorado, and again, used for improvement of infrastructure and response for health in each of these rural counties. So who is eligible to apply? There are several major categories. One is, and the primary category, are hospitals. Additionally, EMS agencies may apply, and then community health organizations like Starting Hearts can cooperate with the primary providers to obtain funds for mutual programs. I've put the website here for the Colorado Rural Health Transformation Program. There's a tremendous amount of information there. And I questioned whether or not 911 dispatch agencies can make either direct application for funds or through primary providers, as we are doing with hospitals. And it's very dependent upon each individual circumstance. And so I direct you to the state office to determine whether you make a direct application or you coordinate with other agencies that can make direct application. And so I have a question for you. For those of you who may be familiar with the program, have you determined whether or not you can make a direct application for funds or whether you work through primary providers such as hospitals and EMS agencies? Anyone? Okay, so we don't know clearly whether you can do one or the other, but it would behoove you to contact the HCPF office, the state office, with that website that I provided in this slide at the bottom, and they can guide you as to the proper process for applications. Just to give you an idea of how we as a nonprofit are working with the primary providers, we have what we consider a fairly serious issue in rural locations where there is great distance sometimes to reach a cardiac arrest. And this is why we believe strongly that citizen responders, who are often already on scene when a cardiac arrest takes place, are able to provide early care to keep that victim viable until professionals arrive on scene. And so our approach is really to empower citizens with education and with local defibrillators, and utilizing the PulsePoint program to activate those citizens to provide that early care when needed. And so we partner with the hospital and the local EMS agency. Here in the case of Eagle County and in Summit County, we have PulsePoint fully active. It runs in the background of your CAD system. So once the API is complete, then there is no need for your agency to engage specifically with the citizens who may respond to that signal. So when you send out a signal to your EMS agencies, your police, fire, paramedics, that same signal will go to those authorized citizens who may be nearby who can provide that early care. So we think that working closely together, EMS agencies, including dispatch, the hospitals, and the work that we do, can significantly improve outcomes. And I'm very pleased to say through the CARES data that our two counties sometimes run as high as a 40% save rate year over year versus, say, the state rate, which is less than 10%, and urban rates like Denver that are as low as 6%. So we encourage you to work with your hospitals, your EMS agencies, community organizations like ours to make application to the RHTP program. There are significant funds available, and those funds can be used for your development and your cooperation with such agencies to be able to improve outcomes in your rural counties. And if you'd like to speak with us, we're happy to provide information like this. We've taken a deep dive over the last 6 months into the RHTP program. We work closely with the agency here in Colorado that will make the funding decisions. And that way we can direct, hopefully the program can direct some funds to your agency. As far as a timetable is concerned, the application is in process at the state agency, and they will be distributing that application in the next 30 days or so. And you can find much more information again on their website. They will provide approximately 2 months for applications to be made. Applications can be 1 year up to 5 years, and they can be one initiative or numerous initiatives. And they plan to distribute funds starting in October of this year. So that first $200 million will be distributed this year. And based on the results of that first investment, then the second year, third, fourth, and fifth will be distributed, and we'll be reporting to the federal government the progress that's being made in our rural counties. That's all I have. Jennifer, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to speak. And I hope that some of our dispatch agencies in the rural counties will participate in this program, generate funds, and be able to improve outcomes. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan, and team for providing that information. I hope everybody was able to grab the links out of the chat and the email, but we appreciate you being here and thank you very much. I'll ask just one more time before you guys go. Does anybody have any additional questions? Looks like you guys are in the clear. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay. The next thing that we have on the agenda is the standing reports. However, the written version of those reports can be found in the meeting materials folder. Jennifer, do we usually go through each one and ask if there's an update, or do we just let that stand?
No, we usually go through and call on the chairs to see if they have any update or anything they want to particularly highlight.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to make sure. And then I guess I get to start with you.
All
PUC
right.
staff update.
We do have a couple of open proceedings. Of course, the BES improvement plan, Elbert County has refiled their ETC request. I did not get it put on here, but I will. We have also filed a amendment to the surcharge distribution for 2026 to adjust for some concurrent sessions that will be removed from the reimbursement, and that will be on next week's Commissioners' Weekly Meeting. The agencies that it will affect have been contacted. Everybody else will be getting a slight increase in their reimbursement rates. So that's no effect except for good. If you haven't been contacted, then you'll just get a little bit more of your state 911 surcharge reimbursement. Also, the CenturyLink did file their quarterly update in the current improvement plan proceeding, and they also filed their periodic report. So I'm working on going through those, and I will put those into this standing report and into the 911 program current open proceedings so that you can go and download it. I highly recommend that you download the periodic report. As part of that, CenturyLink is required to report their DMARC locations for each PSAP and also their contact information for each PSAP. So they filed a redacted and a confidential version. There is an NDA that's filed if you would like access to the confidential version, but the redacted version that is public still has the majority of the information that you need. And I highly, highly recommend all of our PSAPs and 911 authorities download that report and check your DMARC locations and your contact information for outage notifications that is on file with CenturyLink. Note that this PUC reduced its admin rate from 2% to 1.5% that it keeps for administrative requirements, and that the March state 911 distribution was much lower than anticipated due to a major carrier payment posting after the date. So you'll see that catch up in the April distribution. And I will see if anybody has any questions.
Any questions for Jennifer? All right. Thank you, Jennifer. Next is the BESP report. Lumen, Jeff, is that going to be you?
I can kick that off. This is Tressa.
Okay, sorry, Tressa. Go
No
ahead.
worries, no worries. So Jennifer already kind of talked about the network improvement plan, but I'll just say it again. So we did the current network improvement plan. We did file our first quarter status report back on April 30th. And then regarding the new network improvement plan, the 27 to 29 plan, intervention was last week. So we've reached out to the parties to schedule a meeting, hopefully for next Tuesday, if we hear back on that and get that moving. And that's all that I had.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tressa. Any questions for Tressa? Okay. BESP report, Entrado.
No updates from Entrado today.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ryan. Bylaws Committee, Kimberly.
No changes or requests on the bylaws, Kathy. Thanks.
Thank you, Kimberly. Legislative Committee, Jackie.
Sorry, looking for my mute button. I just want to say congratulations and good work to everybody. We were able to get the prepaid definition changed and signed by the governor. And then the sunset review for the PUC was passed. Daryl sent out an email earlier today about it is now going to the governor's office. And the only thing that involved 911 was a language change to 29/11/104, which further defined the second tier of what 911 fees can be spent on to point it to radios outside the dispatch center to relate to 911 calls. So those are the big things that happened. We were able to have some bills that were postponed and that we were happy about, and we're watching some bills. Our next meeting is Monday, and please join. We're going to talk about next steps and priorities, etc. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Any questions for Jackie? Okay. 988 report. I don't see either one of those on. So I will move along. Equal Access Committee, Sadie. I don't see her either. Outage Committee, Carl.
Kathy, if you wouldn't mind, just 1 second.
Sure.
I know Sadie's not here, but she is hosting the NINA Demystifying the Next Gen 911 Call Flow class. She is hosting that for free for community members, and I believe there's only 5 spots left. It's going to be held at Westminster PD in June, and this is a clickable link to go to the registration flyer. If you haven't taken that yet, I highly recommend taking that, because it makes the conversations that we're having about the future of Colorado's 911 pathways much easier, as well as giving a great understanding of the next gen 911 call flow. So if you get a chance and you've got some time in June, I highly recommend attending for free.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Yep.
Okay, Outage Committee, Carl.
I don't have anything. I know Daryl does most of the work. I don't know if he has anything or if he's available.
I don't see Daryl on. Okay, Colorado Public Safety Broadband update. And I don't see Kristen on. Jackie, you're up again, Prepaid and Collections Committee.
No report at this time. Thank you.
All right. EZNet Users Group, Steve is not on. He's out of office. The meeting was yesterday, and I have no update for that. GIS Committee, Matt.
Good morning.
Morning.
Folks, if you haven't provided GIS data yet to GEOCOM for the Resource Center's GIS project, please do so as soon as possible. They are running out of time in their contract to get the work completed. So even if your data is not what you would call ready or complete, just send what you have as of right now for what's been requested. Also, NINA has finally released version 3 of its GIS data model.
All right. Thanks, Matt. Any questions for Matt?
Kathy, this is Andrew. Matt, can you throw that point of contact into the chat? I honestly can't remember if we've sent them our stuff.
Sure. Give me a minute and I'll post that in.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks, Matt. PSCS report, Deanie.
Good morning. I have nothing other than we had a good PSCS radio summit last week, and just hoping to encourage people to come next year if at all possible. Hopefully we won't have it at the same time as the APCO NENA State Conference, which has been a challenge this past several years, but we'll do our best to try to not have that happen again. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Deanie.
You bet.
Is Amanda on? Yes.
Good morning.
For the statewide interoperability coordinator report.
Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to add, we're rolling out the DTRS dispatch and the radio user training. We're traveling to Cortez. We're going to be in Pueblo and a few other spots around the state. So if you're wanting to get a training to your area, just reach out to me and we can get you on the calendar for the summer.
All right. Thanks, Amanda. Any questions for Amanda? Okay. Division of Fire Prevention and Control report. Connie.
I don't have anything other than what's there. No update.
Okay. How about the 911 Resource Center?
Same thing other than to reiterate what Matt said, to please get whatever GIS data you have into GeoComm. We've been sending out emails, making phone calls to encourage people to get this done before GeoComm's contract time runs out.
All right. Thank you, Connie. Kimberly, got your hand up.
Connie, how many authorities are lacking data at this time?
As of yesterday, we're under 10, and I can give you those list here as soon as I open up the map.
I was just curious if what percentage we were complete. So under 10. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, Connie. Rapid SOS. I don't think we have anybody on. I do not see CJ either for the Colorado Training Standards Institute.
Kathy, I can give an update on CTSI.
I was just going to ask you. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, Colorado Training Standards Institute continues to build the material to match the new voluntary standard. And we are also pleased to report that the Colorado Association of Chiefs of Police have voted to adopt and endorse the voluntary minimum standard. That's in addition to MSAC and all of the state 911 entities. So we are working with Colorado Sheriff's Office Association, and I have time on their meeting at the end of the month to make our case. But we're also asking if you have a good relationship with your sheriff and they participate in CSOC to maybe reach out and offer to answer any questions that they may have about the voluntary standard prior to that meeting so that we can get that across the finish line at the Sheriff's Office Association. And CJ is also working on reaching out to fire chiefs.
All right. Any questions for Jennifer? Okay. CCOA update. Kimberly.
Thanks, Kathy. So from the report that I submitted, I just wanted to highlight a couple of items. And one of them had to do with our work we did with the legislative committee and down at the Capitol on the bill. So CCOA's dues pays for professional lobbyists. And I really believe that that professional lobbyist team made a huge difference this year with that prepaid bill, keeping it on track because it was getting kind of squirrely and it had a fiscal note attached to it, and it was going to take a whole different path. So just wanted to highlight that when people are curious about what's the CCOA up to and where do their dues go. Professional lobbyists is something we really supported and saw the benefits of this year. The other thing is the 27 members did decide to intervene in that second improvement plan with CenturyLink, and our dues are covering those legal fees associated with that legal proceeding. So if you're interested in joining the CCOA, we would love to have you. Again, we have 27 members right now, and if you're interested, just reach out to me on my email and I'll get you some information.
All right, thank you, Kimberly. Any questions for Kimberly? Okay, Michael Berry, 911 Services Enterprise.
Good morning. I did make one adjustment this morning, in case anybody had looked at it before this morning, based on our special meeting yesterday afternoon. The enterprise is moving from a calendar year to a fiscal year to match the state's calendar. And because of that adjustment, our initial priority grant funding is moving from $450,000 per project through the end of this calendar year to approximately $600,000 per project priority through the end of June 30th, 2027. So make sure if you have any projects that you want to look at, you think might fit one of these grant funding priorities, take a look at our fiscal policy, take a look at the information, attend our next meeting on June 3rd, and be aware and on the lookout for that.
Thank you, Michael. And just for the sharing of information, the application for some of that money is on the site as well?
Application is not up yet. We're hoping to have kind of final approval and direction to get that up very soon, hopefully at this next meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions for Michael? Okay, move on to should be old business. So we have the Resilient Link discussion and next steps, and Kimberly Culp, you are up.
So I missed the task force meeting in March where the information was presented on my behalf. And so I just wanted to reach back out, and Jennifer, you were also included in those emails, to see if this group wanted any additional next steps based on that information that we highlighted about Resilient Link. For me, I looked at it as being perhaps tabled right now, mainly because of the information they were going to be collecting and providing for the state. It wasn't at the Intrado CenturyLink level for the 911 network. And so I encourage the company to go back and have conversations with Intrado CenturyLink, and that would be a great place to then have a statewide deployment. But Jennifer, I don't know if you had other thoughts on that recommendation that I had put in that written report in March that you wanted to highlight for everybody.
Thanks. I didn't have any additional thoughts, but Andrew wasn't able to be at that meeting, and he was the one who brought Resilient Link to the task force, as well as I think the members at the time in the March meeting indicated they might have questions for you based on your background information that you did, which they were very appreciative of. So I'm displaying your letter and giving everybody the opportunity to ask you questions or see what else the conversation needs to take place.
Okay, do we have any questions right now for Kimberly? All right, I would encourage everybody to make sure to read this letter. And if you do have any questions, reach out to Kimberly directly. Kimberly, nothing else to add? You're good with that?
Sounds great. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you. Okay, I'll move on to the next one, which is the CenturyLink Customer Service Issues and Issues Tracker. I don't see Jim, but I do see Jeff.
Good morning. And this will tie in also to the new business for the follow-up, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
Because with the tracker, the one outstanding item is communication. And that's partially what we did on last week during the APCONENA conference on Wednesday. And we are, when I say we, Cindy Berry, myself, and Tracy Dillo are going to be working on getting more granular on the presentation that we did. I don't have a copy of it yet. I believe that Cindy had sent that over to Jennifer to be able to share. So we are scheduling a time. It's going to be probably in the next 2 weeks. I'm going to be out of office next week for vacation. But that's the biggest thing that we're working on now, is to be able to expand what we're doing, excuse me, and we are also going to go ahead and we've got a 30, 60, 90-day project that we're working on as far as the communication is concerned.
All right, and Jeff, I see that Jennifer has that 30, 60, 90-day roadmap up.
Right.
Any questions for Jeff? Doesn't sound like it right now, Jeff.
Hey, Kathy, I have
looks
my
like
hand up.
Kimberly's got her
Oh,
hand up.
yep, I just saw that. Thank you. Kimberly, go ahead.
Sure. So I had an interesting situation with a 911 ticket that was opened by the CenturyLink NOC, emailed to us, no phone call. And the email, the format was something totally different we've never seen before. So it was very clean and concise, and it was really easy to read. The problem was the ticket identified that a 911 circuit was down. So we were at 50% capacity on our circuits, and this is for Jackson County demarcation. And the ticket just basically sat. It just continued to get updated that they're trying to find a field tech. They'll update us tomorrow, still trying to find a field tech. So the ticket actually opened on April 29th. I finally escalated it to Tracy, and she was able to get a tech out there that same day. Actually, they got somebody dispatched. So it ended up sitting for quite a while. And I don't know if you wanted to take a look at that, if you want me to forward it to you, or if you want to just talk to Tracy about that, but definitely a ticket that recently fell through the cracks. I know you're in this process of implementing this new process, but I think there's definitely something that happened, and I don't know if this was a national circuit, so it had a different look and feel, but it definitely is concerning.
Sure. No, I'm completely understand. Yes, if you could forward that to me, that would be great. And I will get with Tracy on that. Excuse me. And for, I guess, clarification more than anything, as far as the circuits are concerned, and I wish Kevin or somebody from our technical side was on here, excuse me, if you have one circuit down, even today, for those that have not migrated to the new IP network, and even on the new IP network, the circuits are designed that if you lose one, you're not technically at 50%. You'll still be able to operate, but it doesn't negate the concern for the delay in the ticket itself. So yeah, Kimberly, if you could forward that to me, I will work with Tracy.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll forward it to you. And we were just at 50% capacity, which requires a dispatch, of course, to get it resolved. So
Right.
We don't want to operate for weeks on 50%. So
No.
I'll forward that to you. And I was very appreciative that Tracy jumped on it and got it resolved. I just don't like the fact that I don't know what happened with National and why it fell through the cracks. So, but I'll forward that so you guys can get eyes on it.
All right. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Kimberly. Jeff, anything else?
Not at this time.
Okay. Any other questions for Jeff?
No question, but I will put this copy of the slide deck into today's meeting minutes or meeting materials folder, as well as it's in the ESNet users group materials folder from yesterday.
Thank you, Jennifer. The next thing I have is the load share routing options, CenturyLink or Intrado and Intrado.
And that's actually going to be me. I asked them to come and bring it to this meeting, but they asked to postpone to the June meeting. But I've asked CenturyLink and Intrado to bring to us an overview of new overflow and abandonment routing options that are available for those who have moved to GIS routing, and also an option that is available even if you're not on GIS routing anyway. Or yet, sorry, because I know that a number of regions are looking at shoring up their abandonment and overflow routing options and having those conversations. And so I asked them to bring that to I guess it'll be the July meeting, but they're also going to talk about it at the June ESINet users group meeting, so that those of you who are working on those routing options have all of the information available and all of the options available to you.
All right. Thank you, Jennifer. Appreciate that.
Sure.
Okay, it looks like we're at the end of our agenda. I do always like to ask if there's anything else for the good of the order. So I will ask that now for anybody who is present in the meeting. And it sounds like we don't have anything right now. So our next meeting will be July, and I believe that's the one in Ouray, correct, Jennifer?
It'll be at the 4-H building in Ridgeway.
Oh, Ridgeway, that's right.
I'll see if Matt has any information to give us about parking or anything.
Oh, there's plenty of parking at the Ouray County 4-H Event Center.
Okay.
There's a hotel across the street. Plenty of options for places to stay 10 miles south in Ouray. Other options in Ridgeway or Montrose. But we're advocating for Ouray this time.
All right, that sounds good. And I think that is all we have for today. So I am going to adjourn the meeting at 11:07. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Take care,
everybody.
everyone.
Thanks, Kathy.